If you're on the start of a ride and you're heading out and something doesn't feel right, or there's a rattle or a noise coming from your bike, you know, you've got two choices. You either do what my wife does and just pull on, or you pull into the side and try and diagnose the problem in case it's serious. 9 times out of 10 it's probably not, but it's better to do a couple of real quick checks before you carry on with your ride in case there's something catastrophically wrong with your bike. Pulled in off the side of the main trail just to do a couple of trail side checks. So here's 3 trail side checks that I would suggest doing if you hear a rattle. So again, all you need is an Allen key. First thing to check is that your axles are tight, so your front and rear wheel, because you know, if you've had your wheels out at any point for fixing a puncture or whatever, the axle might not have gone in tight again. So again, just check with a 6mm Allen key. Is it tight or is it loose? That's tight, and we do the same on the back. So it sounds simple, but you know, it's happened to buddies of mine that have been out in the trail, so you know, there's no such thing as a silly problem. Got to check everything, and you know, hopefully it's not something critical. Number 2 might be a loose headset. That can happen over time, so it could be that the star nut inside has maybe worked its way loose. So the quickest way to do it is a 4mm Allen key, loosen off your stem. You're going to try and nip up this headset. That feels tight to me, so I don't think that's the problem, but it was loose and that was the problem. You would probably get a quarter, half turn, maybe even a full turn on there. One thing that's super critical, don't forget to tighten up your stem bolts again afterwards. I've seen it happen where people kind of forget that they need to do that, and essentially you could ride off and your bars could turn in a different direction from the wheel. So make sure that when you've checked that, you always tighten up your stem again. To keep it really simple, these 2 bolts tighten up your stem. That stops your stem from spinning side to side. That's all it does. And this is the critical bolt. This is what preloads your bearings and your whole fork and steer tube. So that's got to be snugged up enough to keep the bearings seated, and then tighten the stem up afterwards. If it's too tight, you'll feel the steering is like notchy or grindy or tight. It shouldn't be. It should feel nice and slack, but without too much rattly noise. You can test that by putting the front brake on and rocking the bike back and forward. Then if there's a knock, you'll hear that. The third thing to check is possibly your gears might not be indexed correctly. They might be skipping or making a noise when you pedal. So best thing to check is that there should be no noise, no skip like that. That's perfect. If there's a noise coming from it, it could be that your indexing is off. So I'll wind it off slightly just to give you an example. So indexing basically controls the tension on the cable and tells the derailleur exactly where to be in line. So you want to make sure that it's always lined up with whichever of the teeth on the sprocket that you're supposed to be in. For example, you can hear that now, that you can hear it skipping. So we know that something's not right. So generally what you can do is put it in the bottom gear. So we've shifted down into the bottom gear, but it's obviously not dropped down here. So we know that there's probably too much chain tension and it's holding the derailleur too far this way. So we're gonna back it off using the index adjuster. A couple of turns until it drops down. There we go. That doesn't fix the problem. It might be time for a new shifter cable, or there might be a bigger issue there. So we'll go back to the workshop in another episode and we'll tell you how to replace your gear cable and set your gears up 100% perfectly. But for now, that's everything sorted. The bike sounds good, no more problems, so we can continue on with our ride. In 11th gear, oh God. That's us now.